What critically acclaimed video game did you just not care for? Badlands. I will admit that I didn't make it past the first few levels. But that was out of sheer boredom from what I perceived to be the game's design and pacing. Any MOBA like League or Smite. They look like games that take a lot of time to even be competent at, and there's no real motivation to try and understand all that stuff. Scrolls down. Doesn't see my favorite critically acclaimed game listed. Goes back to bed. I never got into the original Half-Life. Which is weird because HL2 is probably my favorite game of all time. Edit. It's even weirder because so many people are saying they're the other way around. PUBG. It was fun the first few times around. Very exhilarating toward the end of each round. And victory felt great. But it's so repetitive and had a very clunky feel. Also made every BR game that came after it feel pasted, and they all bored the hell out of me. Overrated genre emo. The last few Final Fantasy games were just unplayable to me. Last one I remember enjoying was 12. Fortnite Bridge. I paid a lot of money for STW. And it's a joke trashfire now. I was gonna say Fall Guys, but I caved today and downloaded it. It stressed me the fuck out for a good 20 minutes. I put it down. I picked it back up. Suddenly it's a fucking dopamine mine. I can't stop smiling even when I fuck up. Which is always. It's nice to have a battle royale that isn't just a shooter. I really needed something else. You know that one game you really like? I hated it. League of Legends. Played it for a while. Used to like it. But now the thought of playing even a single game disgusts me. First you get trapped in a game for at least 30 minutes with 9 complete strangers who are all simultaneously more toxic than the other. And if you leave or disconnect, you can get banned for days. There is always at least one hopeless optimistic on your team who will refuse to surrender even when it's 0 to 20. Warframe. All of my friends love it and have poured thousands of hours into it. But I just don't get it. It gets boring really fast. When your only point is to farm levels to get better gear and go to harder levels. The enemies and fights always feel the same trough the game. Destiny. Remember it being massive at launch and being super hyped picking it up that week. Never could get into it at all. And that's from a big Bungie fan. RuneScape. I only managed to put in about 7,000 hours before carrying on with my life. I don't get how some people have been into it so consistently for 2 decades. Fortnite. Kingdom Hearts 3. My wife grew up playing the first ones and frequently told me how she had great memories of them. When we learned a new installment was coming out, we were hyped. Even though we both enjoyed the actual gameplay, there are so many cutscenes that I found the game early unplayable. Yes, could skip the cutscenes, but by that point I was feeling I was really selling the game short, and plus I had no idea what I was actually doing. Who TF is this random bozo that joined my party? Oh, they're gone now. Okay. We both ended up just stopping and we were both very disappointed. Fucking Pong. Graphics were for shit. I'm waiting to find a reply that says Undertale. Space Invaders. The more you blew up the faster they rained down. Made me crazy. Now that you mention it. League of Legends can fuck right off. Any of the FIFA games. Infuriating. I'm gonna get hated for this, but Overwatch is mine. I played a little bit of it, but I just didn't grasp it like other games similar to it like Siege. Everyone seems to love Animal Crossing, but I see zero appeal in it. Volgar the Viking. I thought the game didn't balance difficulty and fun. Dark Souls. Celeste. Super Meat Boy. Cuphead. Devil May Cry. Dante Must Die mode. Are all pretty challenging but rewarding after completing a level or boss fight. In Volgar it was too much memorizing, and after spending 6 hours to do the first stage one didn't feel satisfaction, just relief. I got the game for $2 though. By the way, if anyone wants to take it, I'll give it to you for free. Just send me a PM of your Steam username and I'll be happy to give it to you. I wanted to like BioShock so badly. But I wasn't able to avoid spoilers and it ruined my interest in the story. LA Noire. I just found the game aspect really boring and broken. While they put a ton of effort into the character animation, it made character movement really clumsy and frustrating, especially during platforming sections. Even something as simple as stepping 2 feet to the left to walk through a door was an exercise in futility. as I would commonly overshoot the door or angle away from it during the unnecessarily realistic wind-up and follow-through of each footstep. Also, the game shipped with broken dialogue options, making some missions impossible to clear without realizing you had to intentionally pick incorrect dialogue options to trigger the correct dialogue sequence. And knowing which one to pick was a whole new layer of trial and error. The game's first couple hours are great. But by then, the game had shown its hand and either started repeating the same mechanics, or introduced really lame fetch quests and lazy driving missions. About halfway through, I was just done with the game. Fortnite. Not sad about it being dropped from platforms either. Civilization. I've tried to get into a lot of times, but it just never clicked. It feels like you need to sit and watch someone else play it in order to understand how it's meant to be played. GTA 5. All my friends had it, and it seemed fun after it came out. A few months later I couldn't even be bothered to look into buying it because it seemed like everything was already done and I'd be playing catch up. Animal Crossing. Valorant tries to combine CS, Go with fantasy and it's boring. Skyrim. 60% of that game is going through what I swear is the same dungeon, killing the same Draugr to open the chest at the end to get the thing, and if it's not a dungeon it's Dwemer Ruins. The Thieves Guild, Brotherhood, and Werewolf Guy's questlines were fine enough, but they were all short and stopped just as they were getting interesting. Then it was back to Draugr. Assassin's Creed. Warzone. It seemed like a cool game, but I just didn't vibe well with it. Black Ops, Destiny 2 and Warframe. They were all just so boring. I couldn't get into them no matter how much I tried. How do you all put up with Geralt's janky way of either walking too slow or barreling about like a bull in a china shop? Or how he has cat jeans but handles climbing, falling and sliding like a semi-truck, missing all its wheels trying to navigate an American Ninja obstacle course? I just lose interest sometime before the Griffin fight. From feeling like I'm getting more challenge fighting Geralt to navigate the world more than I am fighting enemies. Fortnite. Life is strange. It's hard to get into a game when the character the protagonist is supposed to care about more than anything else in the world is such an unlikable, awful person. Skyrim. Couldn't do it. Even tried mods. I just couldn't find joy in it. Sekiro. I'm just too stupid or casual for this game. Shadow of the Colossus. In theory, it sounded amazing, but when playing it myself, I barely did anything before I got annoyed and gave up. Dark Souls. Minecraft. Don't know if it qualifies, but I'll leave it here either way. Just bought Hollow Knight for the Switch a couple days ago. Really not that into it, wish I had just bought Stardew Valley again. Xenoblade. Back in my gaming days I never could get into any of the Zelda series, but I knew it was thought of as the bee's knees. I scrolled way down and didn't see Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It is obviously a AAA game, despite weird bugs I encountered in gameplay and cutscenes. I found the gameplay and environments extremely restrictive. A few issues that I had with the game. 1. The levels were so linear that I felt I wasn't exploring anything. If I did venture off the beaten path, the chests just contained ponchos or cosmetic lightsaber bits. 2. Combat didn't feel good to me. The system was so reliant on parries and timing that it didn't feel like a powerful force wielder with a lightsaber. The skill tree was boring to the point where I didn't really care what I was unlocking because it didn't impact the gameplay in a good way. What I really would like to see in a SW game is meaningful exploration of the vibrant universe they've created. Or even just a few worlds. And/or exciting combat with interesting force powers and impactful lightsaber combat. Assassin's Creed. Never got into any of them. Overwatch. I have 2,500 hours in it and still hate it. Pipe. Monster Hunter World. Finally played it and was like, this is it. Just like playing boss battle after boss battle. Boring. Mist. Cuphead. It's just too hard for me. Dash. Call of Duty. Just a straight up garbage cash cow. The Witcher 3. Couldn't get into at all. Uncharted. As an archaeologist, I absolutely hate how they glorify the illegal antique trade. Salvaging and treasure hunting. That shit is a real problem in reality. Minecraft. Don't kill me. Undertale. I get it. Haha sans. Nice music. And all the shipping wars. But I just couldn't get into it. A waste of $10. RDR2. I can't even control it. Had more fun watching my dad play it. Honestly, Skyrim. I set myself off on a mission and next thing I know 3 hours later I'm finally coming out of a random cave I walked into with a bunch of equipment I didn't want and I still haven't completed what I wanted to complete. Fallout 3. I loved New Vegas. Got along just fine with FO4. And currently working on FO76. But FO3 just never clicked with me. I tried a couple of times to play it. And I get bored and tired of all the metro tunnels.